the greatest of all time.
Is Kendrick the greatest of all time?
That's
the conversation.
There's no really. Yeah.
With everything, like,
yeah.
And you got to really think.
You gotta think about it.
You got to really think.
So even if you think Jay is, I can only think of one time Jay and Kendrick were on the record together, and Kendrick cleaned them up.
What song was that?
I don't even know what song that was.
The "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe" remix.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
Kendrick cleaned him up.
Because you know what? I never listened to that remix.
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick cleaned him up.
But even like, we can have difference of opinions on art.
Yeah, because I mean,
right?
Eminem got Jay together on that shit, but you still like Jay more than you like Eminem.
For sure. Yeah. But I think when you look at the totality of Kendrick Lamar, right, and the reason why we were sitting over here before the show, me and Terry and Gobinator, shouts to Jackson, and we were talking, and the Man in the Garden, was it the Man in the Garden line? Was that the one where he's like, something the greatest of all time? His rap. Who am I to believe that I'm the greatest of all time?
I think that was Whacked Out Murals.
I think it's Man in the Garden.
Man in the Garden.
Because he did it at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, and I think he did it a cappella.
Or why did you deserve to be
the greatest of all time?
Right.
But it got me thinking about when you look at his career in totality. Now, granted, he's still in the early stages of his career. Technically, he's 37. But when you look at like the fact from an artistic standpoint and what he represents in hip hop and all these things considered,
bodies of work.
Whew,
yeah, it's crazy.
And
like, that's what kind of started leading us more down this path, that he has a very good argument to be considered the greatest rapper of all time, based off of body of work, based off of performance, based off creativity, based off appeal. Regardless of what you want to call it. Some people have a musical genius about them, and it's really for real a genius versus me just saying I'm a genius.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But even further to the thing we talked about last week with the Professor Sky video about the commercial ubiquity and all that stuff, even if we disagreed with the whole premise in general, he even has that stuff crossed.
Yes.
Like, even if it doesn't matter. So it's like he just headlined the Super Bowl and just did raps.
Never been done.
Yes, man.
Never been done before.
And when you first heard of Kendrick, did you ever see him being in this position?
Me personally?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I remember personally when I first saw Kendrick and saw Section 80 came out and I saw what he had within him.
Yeah.
I remember specifically thinking he could be that person. I absolutely thought that. This is 2011. Because I missed Overly Dedicated. So it was like when Section 80 came out. But I remember thinking and seeing, like, if anybody has the capability to potentially be that next generational thing forever.
Next generational thing versus
but not the greatest
never
of all time.
Greatest of all time. Because even when I was introduced to Kendrick, was
it's the same thing to me. Let me just say that's the same thing to me.
That's the same thing to you?
Same thing to me, yes.
Now, I think I kind of differ when it comes to that, because like Kendrick has always been one of my favorite artists.
He's not my favorite rapper, but
he's always been one of my
conversation.
favorite artists, based off of his body of work. And I mean, some music you listen to and it makes you feel a certain type of way. Kendrick's albums do that for me. You know what I'm saying? And it goes back to the hip hop being able to evoke emotion. There's artists that can do that. Kendrick possesses that talent to where he can write some stuff that evoke emotion out of you. And he's just that good. But up until recently, I never really started thinking about greatest of all time. You know
I didn't either.
I never thought about that. But once we start going down like criteria that would make an artist greatest of all time, he's hitting every cylinder.
I remember back, I got in an argument with somebody about this, about me explaining this to somebody, like he has the potential to be this, and somebody was disagreeing with me. And I was like, okay.
All right, so when I first started hearing Kendrick, the first song I ever heard from Kendrick, it was K Dot. It was the C4 freestyle over the Millie beat. I thought he was a Lil Wayne knockoff at the time. You know what I mean? But he was spitting, you know what I mean? And then I heard the Kendrick Lamar EP. I was like, oh, this is good. Then I heard Overly Dedicated. I was like, oh, no, dude, cold. Then I heard
Section 80. Wow.
And I was like,
hold on.
And that's
whoa.
And that's when I really jumped. I was like, oh, he's different.
But when he started getting it, like Good Kid, Mad City was
fire.
Was a fire album. So like
he took it up a notch.
At this point, it's like, oh no, you becoming one of my favorites.
Yeah.
You my favorite right now. But the album that made me think like he's got GOAT potential was
To Pimp a Butterfly.
To Pimp a Butterfly, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When I heard
not everybody can do that.
Not even that, man.
Most people can't do that.
For me, it was like, man, this might be the most important album of that decade.
I think it was. Honestly.
Yeah, like as soon as I heard it the first time, I was like, man, this is like the Thriller of this generation. It's like a hip hop, man. Like when I listened to it, just the way it was sequenced, the story he was trying to tell throughout the album, I was like, nah, this is crazy. I so much so I went and told my son about it. That was like, that's my son's favorite album.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
What's weird to me is I actually gravitated more to J. Cole at first.
Mm-hmm.
Like J. Cole's mixtape series while Kendrick was coming up until
Friday
Section
Night
80.
Lights and
yeah. When the come up, things of that nature.
I remember having those.
Yeah, but then when Section 80 dropped, Section 80 was so that shit was powerful, man.
We played those joints at
929. I used to hear it all the 929.
Yeah, that's how long we've been playing those records.
Yeah, Coaches. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. He was a staple at Coaches.
Absolutely, and it's like just the way he ascended, and each album got better than the last album, and of course that's subjective because there are albums that are a little more
critically acclaimed,
or more personal that people may not have felt, but they might not have been better than the last album. But from a creative point of view, it's me evolving to let you know that I'm not going to stay in one box.
Yeah.
I'm not going to keep doing the same thing. I'm going to keep essentially challenging myself to do something different.
See, Damn solidified it for me as one of the new GOATs.
Yeah.
Because, like, when I heard Damn, I was like, oh, no, he the best of this generation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because he was like after everybody shitted on To Pimp a Butterfly,
right?
Because it wasn't what people were expecting. He came back with Damn, like,
I can do what y'all want, and I can do it better than y'all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He gave you Damn. I was like,
but still gave everybody him.
A piece of him. Yeah, it's still me.
And I think that's the commonality through his entirety of his catalog is like every single piece of art, and I say that very intentionally, is different, and it's good in its own particular type of way, and it has its own type of intent. Even Mr. Morale, which it doesn't have necessarily as much replay value as some of his others, but the intentionality behind the piece of art that he created with it was actually really good.
Yeah.
It's not one of those records you're going to play on repeat all the time. So
look, the thing about Kendrick, he could have easily done Good Kid. He could be on his fourth Good Kid, Mad City.
Yeah.
But he chose not to do that because, his artistic integrity wants him to evolve and do something else every time he comes out. And so that's one of the things, like, until you guys, it literally, because I wasn't here for the earlier conversation, I wasn't thinking of him as one of the GOATs, but like, there's a conversation to be had.
Yes.
There is a serious conversation to be had, between impact, records sold, artistic integrity, live show, the ability to perform.
Live show.
Which is a piece that a lot of y'all just don't have. Once again, get back to booing. And so now I'm thinking about it, I was like, yeah, he's got to be in that conversation. Just like sometimes when we talk about just this past Super Bowl, it was like, oh, if Mahomes win this third one in a row, we got to talk about him as maybe being the GOAT. Now, the conversation changed when he got run off the field. But, I mean, like, when certain things happen, people hit certain benchmarks, you have to have those conversations. Kendrick has hit those benchmarks as far as us having those conversations.
Continuously under the radar.
Yeah. And then some. And I think the thing that, again, stands out the most to me is that he's done it all by being authentic.
100%.
And I think that just gives it more merit for me, for my vote on this, because, like, I respect that aspect of it. It's why I don't like Drake. It's just what it is.
He's not in the conversation.
No, I
don't care how many records he's sold.
But he's never been in.
It's just he's disqualified himself on so many different.
The sad thing about it though, it is the Michael Jackson Prince of this generation.
Well, because remember, I don't know.
It's so skewed because the thing about streaming is it's a cheat code, man.
I'll give you that. I'm talking about solely the art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? People, not to say that Drake can't write his own stuff, not to say that Mike didn't write his own stuff, but Mike was Mike's projects were, you know what I mean, composition of a bunch of people coming together and doing some stuff together. Not
But
to say that Kendrick's not
different. They was all different.
I agree, but
Look, this is
I
Drake.
don't think it's a one of one.
This is what I always said about Michael and the Prince thing. Is Michael Jackson cared very much what you thought about his album,
yeah.
you know, and he wanted to give you the very best product possible. And you know, he would bring in so many people and collaborators to make sure that when he came out, what you heard was something that you liked.
You don't think Drake do that?
That's what I'm going to make the comparison.
Yeah.
Because Prince, on the other hand, he did what he wanted to do.
Exactly.
He did the records that he liked, and you were just going to, whether you liked him or not, he still did what he was going to do.
Exactly.
You know, now mind you, it's kind of crazy because of what Mike's output and what Prince's was. You know, from like 78 to 92, Prince put out an album every year. People don't realize how prolific he was because we think about the hits all the time. And Mike, you know, he put out Off the Wall, Thriller, Bad. Like that's what he put out in that same amount of, and Dangerous. Those are the 4 albums he put out in that same amount of time.
I think it's disrespectful to compare Drake to Michael Jackson.
That's what be getting me.
Yeah, oh yeah,
It bothers me so bad.
I don't think that it's that's what I mean by I don't think it's a one-on-one
but
comparison.
Drake cares so much about what you think.
I get that.
That's where I can compare him to Mike, and that's the only player. That's the only
I get
player.
that, but at the same time, like I know it's easy to see Prince and Michael and Kendrick and Drake, but it's really just Prince and Michael and Kendrick, and Drake is like over here. Like he's just like he sold a lot of records.
So Prince, Mike, and Kendrick are all in one thing, and Drake is over there.
They're ghosts, and Drake is over here. As somebody we liked at a time.
I think because of the commercial success that Kendrick has also had, I think he is more of a combination of Prince and Michael than I would say that Drake and Kendrick are Prince and Michael.
Artistically, because this is when we start having the conversation of numbers. This is Jay-Z's fault because he started telling you that numbers don't lie. He came up with that situation.
Numbers lie like
when it comes to numbers and streaming, Drake is top dog when it comes to that type shit. And that's the only association that he has to Prince and Michael Jackson, in my personal opinion. Because musically, he ain't touching them dudes. You know what I'm saying?
Even when you talk about impact, like,
no.
and once again, maybe just because I'm not in that cipher of where I'm a crazy, like I know Drake songs that ring off in the club and the songs I've heard on the radio.
Drake is Madonna.
Okay.
I'm still, my thing is, as much as I criticize Drake, I'm still like, Drake is dropping a CD or
whatever.
There go
a project.
A project this weekend.
Word.
And I'm going to listen to it.
Party Next Door? I'm not.
Party Next Door.
So
I'm going to
that.
listen to it. As soon as it drops, I'm going to listen to it because I ain't one of them people that's going to fake and be like, I don't with Drake.
Yeah, I don't.
No, I 100% love Kendrick more than I rock with Drake. 100% because that's Kendrick is more me, essentially.
I think everybody's going to listen just because everybody wants to know what he has to say.
I'm going to, now granted, I know that I'm the anomaly here, right? But I'm going to wait till y'all tell me.
Okay.
Because the last time that I went out of my way to listen to a Drake album, it was whatever, one of his last few ones, and it was R&B, weird ass singing on it the whole time. And there was like
Drake really ain't
121
had a good
Savage rap
since,
song on that album.
Oh, that was the one where like you had to,
shit was ass.
have to be on drugs and Ibiza to enjoy
He
it.
ain't had a good album since If You're Reading This Is Too Late.
But I don't generally like.
I disagree.
I don't generally like
What
Drake
one?
anyways. So there's that.
What was after that?
I like
Scorpion?
Was
That in
Views? Scorpion had some
No,
stuff. on
Views
there?
was before that.
Okay. Was the more life? Was that after that?
I don't know.
I like More Life.
I mean, like,
I don't want to.
I can tell you exactly how the order in which Kendrick
cool.
shit came out. Like, Drake shit all kind of jumbles together.
Because it sounds the same, and that's where we separate Kendrick and Drake.
Yeah, well, to me, it sounds
Integrity.
It sounds like whatever the time is at the time. You know what I mean? Whatever's going on in that moment, that's what a Drake album's going to sound like. He doesn't set the standard for what he used to set the standard for what music was supposed to sound like, but not no more because it's not his stuff no more. I think he'd be collaborating with Yachty, people that are so much. Some people that don't have the artistic integrity that he has. But he just likes kicking it around them because they give him the street cred, like Kendrick said in his last verse.
So who else can get in the ring with Kendrick at this point?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody's been
not even from a battle.
The last person that's been able to get
hip hop.
No, the last person that's been able to get in the ring with Kendrick would be Kanye in 2010. And I still don't even think that maybe.
So are we not counting Jay-Z, because Jay-Z's not a retired.
Jay-Z's already in the Hall of Fame. Like,
I mean,
he's in there. But when I think about like, look, even if I like Jay, but I don't love him.
Right.
You know, to me, Kendrick's music. Look, it depends on how we look at it. But
body of work, man.
But you know, and I'm not even the hugest fan of GNX. Like, it's not one of my favorites from him either. It's probably like 4 or 5 on the line, you know, but at the same time, and so you can make the argument that he's falling off. You can make that argument even though
absolutely not.
You know what I mean? He's not at all. You know what I mean?
This is a Stevie Wonder type of situation to me.
It's just, he just did something different. And I think that's, so I don't even look at it like in that type of way, but Kendrick has given us different, it's just the art, even Jay-Z's approach from an artistic angle isn't even, it's not touching Kendrick's.
Yeah, it's not the same. And this is how
you'd have to go back to Outkast. You have to go back to Outkast. You'd have to go to, you know.
Well, this is the problem with 3 Stacks, is he has never given you a solo album.
But I think you'd have to go back to Outkast.
You're saying Outkast as a whole.
From look, there's lots
just
of
artistic standpoint.
Yeah. You know, like on that type of high level, I guess is what I'm saying. But there's plenty of like artists out there that are making really crazy good artistic stuff, but Kendrick is doing it on such a high level.
And this is what's scary about Kendrick, though, is he just dropped GNX, right? And we got a whole different Kendrick Lamar that was still 100% authentic to himself. And it makes me wonder where he's going to on this next album, because it's not going to sound like GNX.
Yeah,
we may not hear anything from that.
GNX was the homie album. This is the one I'm gonna put on for the city.
Yeah,
and can't nobody say shit. And it's 100. This is California all day.
Yeah.
Well, I say this much: after we didn't get anything after the Super Bowl,
because I was hoping.
I don't think we're gonna get nothing for a while.
Yeah, I
think honestly, we're gonna have to ride out GNX for a minute.
I didn't think, honestly, after Mr. Morale, I thought he was gonna be like Sade. We'd hear from him every 10 years or something. Not even, we don't even hear from Sade every 10 years.
But I think that also adds to this too, when we talk about the cultural element with Kendrick and how he puts it to the forefront that we talked about earlier in one of the earlier segments, and how he cares about where the culture is headed on more than just a financial standpoint. So if you take money out of it, you're going to lose Jay, you're going to lose Kanye, you're going to lose all these other people that can even Drake. You're going to lose all these people that could potentially, Kendrick is just, he's got more care. He's got more intent. He cares more about the stuff, the music and the stuff that he's making. To go on the Super Bowl and to do what he did speaks multiple volumes to me. So
I don't see anybody being able to do that. Nobody can duplicate what he just did.
No, I don't think so.
None of your favorites, they can't do it.
They can't do that. And I honestly,
Andre could get on there and play the flute.
I kind of agree with you as far as him kind of maybe falling back for a minute. But
I can see
this
that
new kind of bravado that he has
doesn't feel like
just knowing that, hey, I'm really that dude and can't nobody with me, makes me feel like that he's not going to stop.
I get that feeling too, because I feel like this extra resurgence that he's had with around the diss records and the GNX and then the Super Bowl and stuff, and now going on tour.
Yeah.
I feel like, I bet in the same way that he didn't take his foot off the gas pedal with Drake, I think he understands that he could probably legitimately, undeniably go down as one of the greatest of all time if he keeps his foot on the gas.
Yep.
And I think he probably recognizes that.
But this year that he has is such a high.
It is.
If he comes with something else and it don't match up to that.
I mean, musically, again, to at least for me, GNX isn't one of my favorites. So like, it wouldn't take much for him to make stuff better than GNX to me.
And I feel like he even touched on this on the album when he was talking about on the part 6, when he talked about the concepts that he had. And then when he got back in town, they kind of just dissipated.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to give you a half-ass album
the
regardless.
Black stuff, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's still going to stay true to himself as far as giving you some quality shit. But I feel like he has a battery in his back right now that he has more to say, essentially.
It almost
where
feels,
he kind of just falls back for him.
It almost feels like, from the outside looking in, that he feels like he has a responsibility.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like if I'm gonna carry this torch, I got to carry it right, and I'm going to use my resources, my artistry, in order to keep pushing myself forward to hopefully inspire another era of artists to do the same thing that I'm doing, because I'm really doing this shit for hip hop.
Exactly.
And then he's been standing on that even last week when he addressed it at the Grammys. Like, if you do this hip hop shit the right way, it's going to pretty much take care of you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel like he's gonna stand on that and keep on doing it.
I'm afraid for the future. I don't know if we'll ever get another artist like Kendrick in this next generation. Just, I haven't heard it. I haven't heard anything like that. Nobody cares enough like he does.
Well, who knows what he spawns, though? You know,
Yeah.
which is
There's some kid who saw this and was like, that's how I aspire to that.
Yeah. I mean, his influence was Pac.
Yeah.
And look what he did with that Pac influence.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Pac was a revolutionary / thug life representative that was poetic and lost, essentially. He had an era where he was lost, but he still had that poetry and emotion in his stuff. And Kendrick pretty much took the best pieces of Tupac and created himself, and just held those same pieces that people kind of revered Tupac as the greatest at one point in time. You know what I'm saying?
And it's not like Kendrick started this way. You know,
Nah.
like he is a product of artist development.
Yeah.
And
TDE stands on that.
You know, and that's
Doechii.
yeah, for sure. Doechii.
Yeah.
I mean, Schoolboy. You know, like
Yes.
he puts out amazing.
Like
stuff,
you have
know?
to. The thing about TDE is you have to go through an artist development situation with them. They don't just put anybody out, and that's why Doechii was able to pretty much turn her shit around, because they started with the radio version of Doechii, and then went back and was like, nah. Well, she actually said, I need to be more true to myself, and then they pretty much reformed her to be who she is right now. So
she has the potential.
She does.
She has the potential.
She does.
yeah,
I'm curious to where she's going. I mean, she's like early
got a lot of-
Section 80 era.
She's got a lot of pressure on her, though.
she does.
You know,
does.
because imagine if, I hope this isn't a thing we're given, even though she's been out for a while, to be given so much so quickly in so short of amount of time. Just imagine if what it would have been if maybe Kendrick won a Grammy for Section 80.
For sure.
A part of, I think, Kendrick's hunger and part of what drives him artistically is, no, I take that back. That's not what drives him. He is not driven by the fact that he lost to Macklemore.
Accolades, yeah.
Like that's not what drives him. He's
Because he knew he was better.
that was for us to have arguments about.
Yeah.
That wasn't something that's part of his process.
I see greatness in Doechii, but I don't see Kendrick greatness in
I wouldn't
Doechii.
say that.
I
I just don't know yet.
I see.
Too early to call.
It's like with Kendrick, I'm not even joking. Like I saw it with him. I was like, oh, he's different. But I don't see the same thing in anybody, but I do see pieces in her.
But it's like
I see
but she's
Missy
being
in-
dragged in a lot of directions. Hey, let's get on this Katy Perry record.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go do this. Hey, maybe we got a Revlon deal. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a lot of things pulling in her right now. And, like I said, even though she calls it a mixtape, which I'm sorry, if you sold it and streamed it and cleared samples, it's not a mixtape. It's an album.
A different era.
Yeah. But, I just hope that when she puts out what she considers to be her full length, she's not thinking, okay, I got to do this for this. I got to do this for this. I got to do this for the people at CHR Radio. What can I give to Elvis Duran? What can I, you know what I'm saying? Because that once you, they want you to be able to follow up Grammy winning.
Don't become Nicki Minaj.
I hate to even use that because
why? Because
Nicki Minaj actually,
and Nicki Minaj is look. I've said this before. Nicki Minaj did everything that these white folks asked her to do, and they still never gave her a Grammy. And I think it's unfair.
yeah. Nicki did her thing.
She did everything she was asked to do that the machine asked any artist to do, and they gave every other female artist a Grammy. Well, I'm not supposed to say, but they gave Cardi, Megan,
And that's why Kendrick is
Doechii.
special.
Now, and even Doja Cat, all these people got Grammys, and I was like, how does Nicki, even one of those off years, not get one?
Yeah.
But
It's
again,
not fair.
But that's a testament to the greatness of Kendrick Lamar.
Yes,
It is.
yes.
Who has only done what he's wanted to do, and he's accomplished everything.
I don't believe that.
You don't think so?
I believe something. He's played around in,
No,
in
he's
the
done
other
it.
pools.
He's done it. I mean,
sure,
even
to
Drake
a degree.
Drake called him out on a couple of them, but
yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
mean-
how long ago was that though?
Are you talking about like when he does have a song with Taylor Swift?
Yeah, he played around in those pools, but I'm not saying
he was still Kendrick on a Taylor Swift song.
He's still. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And also, Drake would do everything he could. He would give away his firstborn son to have a song with Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
That's real.
Well,
especially right now.
I don't know, man. I think I'm going. I think he's the greatest.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't think this is a situation where anybody's really going to fight it based off of actual facts. This is not just opinion.
I'll have that conversation.
Yeah, I think the conversation can still be
I'll have
had.
the conversation.
I don't think it's unequivocal.
No,
but
it's not a landslide, but it's like, okay, so like if you got Jay, you got early Kanye, you got Nas.
Nas ain't in it.
You don't think Nas is in it?
No.
Nope.
Bodies of work, man.
Well, if we're talking about bodies of work,
Nostradamus.
I think
like Nostradamus.
His ass.
Yeah, Nostradamus was not that tight.
I like Nostradamus. I got Project Windows and Last Words. I love both of those records.
Dr. Knockboot.
I'll tell you what.
I like Dr. Knockboot too.
Can't see me tonight.
Yeah, that was on I
Am.
Am.
Okay.
But I guess the argument could be made for his second resurgence.
Was Money's My Bitch? Was that was I Am too?
Yeah. Yeah. I if you calculate Nas's resurgence, which was strong as well, I think that's part of it as well. But no.
Longevity.
He's got that, but like if we're talking about Nas can't get out there and do a Super Bowl. Like,
At all.
Not that that's this golden standard, but
let's not make that the standard.
It's not the standard. but I'm saying like
that's the whole thing with Kendrick. You can't name me an artist right now that can do the Super Bowl the same way that Kendrick did it. Well, not the same way, because nobody's going to do it the same way as Kendrick. But to be able to do it to a point where
you can't make it a story.
Yeah,
you can't not do the hits.
Yeah.
And you can't do it on the biggest stage that exists.
Because we're talking about who the argument was Lil Wayne.
Yeah, Lil Wayne. I mean,
Lil Wayne does not have better albums than Kendrick Lamar, in my personal opinion.
No,
not even close.
All right, well,
it's
a conversation to be
even
had.
Jay.
No, I think
Jay won't put himself on the stage.
I think he trumps Jay.
I'm just talking about like for me, ultimately, the one thing that puts Kendrick in GOAT status to me is bodies of work. Even Jay's bodies of work up against Kendrick's.
I mean, Jay has
Kendrick's
more.
body of work.
Jay has so many.
more.
He still has more. We got peaks and valleys.
Yeah, a lot of Timberland.
There's some valleys, but Jay's ones that hit for real though.
For sure. I mean,
Blueprint.
We were around. I mean,
Black Album,
American Gangster.
Those are three.
Doubt.
Reasonable Doubt grew on me. When I first heard Reasonable Doubt, it wasn't instant for me.
I was outside, so I'm older than everybody here. I was outside when Reasonable Doubt hit. So.
I was outside. I was
outside too.
I was outside, but I wasn't outside. You know what I mean? So, because
see, back then
That's why I was so disappointed in Volume 1.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, back then I was for real on Outkast like crazy.
For sure.
Like before everybody else kind of jumped on it, but
yeah, and to be clear, like it doesn't even mean that Kendrick's my favorite rapper. He's not.
I understand that.
He's not. But it's hard to
accolades.
It's hard to argue with everything.
There's nobody's as far as accolades go. There's nobody no rapper that's touching Kendrick.
Nobody has.
Doesn't he have like 25 Grammys or something?
He has a Pulitzer Prize.
Yeah, I mean, basically, he's one of those ones like basically, if he's nominated, he's
Kendrick's
winning.
got 20 Grammys.
Yeah. He got 5 for not
that the
like
Grammys,
us.
Not that Grammys matter, but I mean,
if that's what you
for sure
really care about.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
There are conversations
Drake's
to be had.
Not Drake. Oops.
Say Drake.
Kendrick's looking real goatish right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell us why we're wrong in the comments.
Yeah.
Shout out to Drop the Name. Your bitch fixing your makeup in my rims, nigga. He said that's the first time he heard.
Talking about with Dom
Kennedy, I balled. That was my joy. Yeah.
Oh, we had some beef going on for a second.
At first I was like, whoa.
No, that was a lie Kendrick said.
Okay.
Your bitch fixing her makeup in my ribs.